There is a baby in Osaka who is 10 months old, and this morning he pulled himself up on the leg of a low wooden table, let go with both hands, and walked 4 steps across the floor to his mother. There is a baby in Ohio, the same age, born the same week, who spends about 6 hours of every day strapped into a seat, a swing, a bouncer, and a car seat, and he will not take a real step on his own for months. The difference is not the genes. It is not luck. It is one simple rule about the floor that almost no parent in this country has ever been told. My name is Ken Ishida. I spent 31 years as a pediatric physical therapist. That is the person the doctor sends your baby to when something is slow, when the head is going flat on one side, when the child is 9 months old and still will not roll over. I have had more than 2,000 babies on the mat in front of me over those years. My mother was born in Japan. I was raised half in one world and half in the other, an American house on the outside and a Japanese house on the inside. And I am going to tell you something I learned the hard way with my own first son that took me years in the clinic to fully understand. When my oldest boy was born, I did what every new American father does. I bought the gear. We had the swing that rocked him back and forth. We had the bouncer by the kitchen. We had the little foam seat that props a baby up before he can sit on his own. We had the activity center he stood inside and spun the plastic pieces. And we had the walker, the one on wheels, because my own aunt swore it would teach him to walk faster. He was a happy baby. He was safe. He was busy. And he was slow. He did not crawl on time. He did not pull up on time. He walked late. And when he finally did, he walked up on his toes for the better part of a year. I was sending other people's children to therapy for exactly what was happening in my own living room. And I could not see it, because every single family I knew was doing the very same thing. Then my mother came to stay with us. She watched the baby in the swing for about 2 days. On the 3rd morning, she picked him up, set him down on his stomach, on a firm mat on the floor, took the swing, folded it up, and carried it to the closet. She said one thing to me. She said, "A baby learns the floor is his own country, and you are teaching him the floor is a faraway place." I did not understand it then. I understand it now, and it is the whole thing. Quick word before I go further. The old ways my family used to raise babies, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. So my mother put my son on the floor, not for 10 minutes a day, for most of his waking hours, on his belly, on his back, on his side, on a firm surface where he could feel the hard ground and push against it. Within a few weeks, the boy who would not roll was rolling. Within 2 months, he was up on his hands and knees and rocking. He was a different child, and nothing had changed except one thing. We stopped holding him up in machines, and we started putting him down on the ground. No one in Japan ever taught my mother to do this. There was no book. It was simply how it was done, because that is how the whole house is built. So here's the question I could not answer for years. The question that sent me back to the research and back to my mother's kitchen table. Why does a bare patch of floor beat $1,000 of the finest baby gear money can buy? And why has no one here ever told you? Let me tell you what is really going on, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. An American home is built for a baby to be held up. A Japanese home is built for a baby to be on the ground. That is the whole difference, and everything else grows out of it. Walk through a normal house here, and count the places a baby spends his day. The car seat in the morning, the stroller for the walk, the bouncer while you cook, the swing when he fusses, the high chair at dinner, the little propping seat, the spinning saucer, the walker, the play yard with the padded bottom. Pediatric therapists have a name for what too much of this does to a baby. They call it container baby syndrome. A container is any seat or device that holds the baby still and does the work of holding him up, so his own body never has to. The American Academy of Pediatrics found that the average baby in this country spends around 6 hours a day in one container or another. 6 hours. A baby is only awake for maybe 10, so more than half of his waking life, his body is being held by plastic and straps, not by the floor and his own muscles. He is not lazy. He was never given the chance to work. Now here is the part that should make you angry, because it made me angry. The walker, the one machine sold to parents as the thing that helps a baby learn to walk, does the opposite. It delays walking. Canada figured this out and banned the sale of baby walkers back in 2004. They were the first country in the world to do it, and they have not allowed them on a store shelf for more than 20 years since. The American Academy of Pediatrics has asked more than once for the very same ban here in the States. They said it plainly. Walkers do not help a baby learn to walk, and they can delay normal motor development. On top of that, between 1990 and 2014, more than 230,000 American babies under 15 months old were rushed to an emergency room because of a walker. Most of it was falls, many down a set of stairs. And still, the walker sits on the shelf in every big store in this country, because a machine that quiets the baby and frees your hands sells itself, and a bare floor does not sell anything to anyone. And this is not just my opinion or one country's rule. Researchers have gone and watched babies grow up all over the world. And what they found is that where a baby is put down on the ground and handled and given the chance to move, that baby tends to sit and stand and walk earlier. In places where the babies are kept wrapped up and carried and held off the floor, those same skills come later. The body follows the chance it is given. It always has. Here's the counterintuitive truth, the one thing I want you to carry out of this whole video. A baby does not learn to walk by being held up. A baby learns to walk by being put down. Every single hour your child spends held upright by a device is an hour he is not learning to hold himself up. The floor is not a break from the learning. The floor is the classroom. And a Japanese home, with its low tables, and its floor cushions, and its mats, and its beds laid out on the ground at night, is a house that keeps the child in that classroom all day long, and nobody in it ever thinks of it as a lesson at all. So how do you build that same classroom inside an American house that is full of couches and high chairs and gear? That is what I am going to walk you through now, step by step, the exact way I rebuilt my own home and the way I taught more than 2,000 parents in the clinic to do it. It costs you almost nothing. Most of it is subtraction, not addition. You are going to throw far more away than you ever buy. Step 1 is the one everything else rests on. Make the floor his. In my mother's language, the yuka, the floor, becomes the baby's own country. You need one firm, clean space on the ground where the baby lives. Not a soft, squishy pillow top rug that swallows him whole. Firm. A baby needs a surface that pushes back so that he can push against it, because that is exactly how a muscle learns what it is for. A folding foam play mat runs about $40. A firm cotton mat works. Or, if you want the real thing, a tatami mat, which is what my family sat and slept and raised babies on for 1,000 years. Here is the trick most people get backwards. Too soft is as bad as too hard. On a deep plush carpet, a baby cannot get his little arms up under himself. He just sinks in and gives up and cries. Firm and flat. That is the floor that teaches. Step 2, belly first. From the very first weeks of life, your baby spends time on his stomach, awake, watched by you, every single day. This is what the therapists call tummy time, and it is the foundation under everything else. When a baby lifts his head up off the floor, he is building his neck. When he pushes up onto his arms, he is building the shoulders and the back and the deep core. And that neck and that core are the very same muscles he is going to stand up on months later. Start small, 1 minute at a time, laid on your own chest, if he hates the hard floor at first. Then work up, a little more each week, toward 10 or 20 minutes for every hour he is awake. Here is the trick that changes everything. Get down on the floor with your own face flat and level with his, and talk to him. A baby will lift his heavy head to find your eyes long before he will ever lift it for a plastic toy. You are the reason he does the hard work. Nothing motivates a baby like your face. Step 3, and this is the hard one for most parents, so brace yourself. Empty the containers. Not all of them, not forever, but most of them, for most of the day. You keep the car seat, of course, for the car, because that is safety and that is the law, and I am not touching it. But the swing, the bouncer, the propping seat, the spinning saucer, pick a small number of minutes and hold the line. The therapists I trained under said a few short sessions of 20 minutes, and no more than that in a day. And the walker on wheels, get it out of the house, completely. I mean it the way that Canadian mother on the news meant it, the one who took the wheels off hers with the claw of a hammer. If you truly need something for the few minutes you must have both hands free, do not reach for a container. Wear the baby instead. That is step 4. Wear him. A soft carrier or a simple wrap on your chest is not a container, and here is why. The baby is not held stiff and still. He is riding your living body. He braces his own neck against your movement. He works his own core against every step you take. He feels every turn and every lean, and that right there is his balance system waking up and switching on. A good soft carrier costs somewhere between $40 and $100, and it is the one and only thing on this whole list that I will tell you is worth buying new. In my family, a grandmother would tie the baby onto her back with one plain length of cloth and go about her entire day. and that baby's body was quietly working the whole time she thought she was only washing the dishes. Step 5. Build the pull-up trail. Once your baby can sit up on his own and is starting to try to haul himself up, get down and look at your furniture through his eyes. He needs sturdy things at just the right height to pull himself up on and then to cruise along sideways. A low table, a firm ottoman, the solid edge of the couch. Here's the trick worth rewinding for. Arrange those things so there is a small gap between one and the next. Close enough that he can just reach the far one, but far enough that he has to let go for half of 1 second to get across. That half a second of letting go, over and over 100 times a day, is walking itself being born. This is exactly why the low furniture in a Japanese room matters so much. The whole room sits down at his height. The whole room is quietly inviting him up onto his feet. Step 6. Bare feet. When he is cruising along that trail and starting to stand on his own, let him do all of it barefoot, right there on his firm floor. Not in little stiff, hard shoes. A baby grips the ground with his toes, and he has to feel the floor to learn his balance on it. Shoes are for protecting the feet outside on rough and cold ground, not for teaching a body to walk. If you truly need something for a cold winter floor, use a soft-soled sock shoe, the kind that bends completely flat in your hand, the little first walkers from a brand like Robees. But inside, on his own ground, bare is best every time. The bottom of the foot is a sense organ, packed with feeling. Do not cover it up and switch it off right when he needs it most. That is the whole system, a firm floor. Belly time, empty the containers. Wear him, build the trail, bare feet. Now let me tell you why it matters so much more than one early birthday step. This was never really about walking at exactly 10 months. 10 months, 12 months, 14 months, it truly does not matter, and I want to be very careful with you here, because every baby has his own clock. Some walk early and some walk late, and both of those are perfectly healthy children. If your child seems behind, you talk to your own pediatrician, not to a man on a screen. I am not telling you to push your baby. I am telling you the exact opposite. I am telling you to get out of his way. Because here is what the floor really gives a child, and it is so much bigger than a first step. A baby on the floor is solving problems all day long. How do I get over to that toy? How do I get myself around this cushion? How do I get from my belly up into sitting? Every single one of those is a small puzzle, and his brain is growing while his body does the work. A baby strapped in a container is entertained. A baby down on the floor is learning. The upright walking is only the part of it you can see with your eyes. Underneath the walking is a child who has come to trust his own body, who knows in his bones that the ground will catch him, who has failed and rolled and tried again 10,000 quiet times before he ever once stood up. That is real confidence, and there is no box you can buy it in. And think for a moment about what it does for you, the parent. When the gear is gone and the baby is on the floor, where are you standing? You are not standing at all. You are down there on the ground with him. You are not watching from up on the couch while a swing does the rocking for you. My mother understood this long before I did. The floor is the one place where the whole family comes down and meets the baby. In our house, everyone sat on the ground together, and the baby was never parked up on a shelf away from us. He was right in the middle of the room, in the middle of the family, on the very same floor as every person he loved. Here is the line my mother said to me, the one I have repeated to more than 2,000 parents since that morning. We did not make the babies walk. We only stopped standing in their way. That is the whole thing right there. The baby already knows how to become a person. He has known how for 1,000,000 years. It is written in him. Our job was never to hold him up in the air. Our job is to put him down, keep him safe, and then step back and let him do the work that is already alive inside him. So here is exactly what you are going to do tonight, and it will cost you nothing at all. After dinner, clear a space on the floor. Push the coffee table back against the wall. Put down a firm blanket or a mat. Take the baby out of whatever seat or swing he is sitting in. Lay him down on his belly, and then get down onto the floor yourself, face to face, eye to eye with him. Take everything else away, just the floor, the baby, and you. 10 minutes. Then, watch what he does when the machines are all gone, when the hard ground is his to push on, and your eyes are the one thing in the room he wants to reach. Then, get up and do the very same thing again tomorrow. That is the floor rule. That is the whole secret this entire country somehow managed to forget. Tell me down in the comments where you are from and how old your baby is right now. And then tell me if you cleared that little space tonight and what he did on the floor. I read them. I want to know how it goes for your own little one. Next time, I'm going to show you the way Japanese mothers get a baby to sleep through the whole night without ever once letting him cry it out. And it comes down to two things almost nobody here thinks about: the temperature of one room and the timing of one short walk in the late afternoon. It is not what any of the sleep books will tell you, and it worked in my family for 4 straight generations. Until then, get yourself down on the floor with your baby. That is where the whole thing starts.